Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday night Zoom call. This is a call for all our coaches to really understand and learn and connect. What is it that we do? What is it that our mission is? And how can we best serve people? So tonight we have a great call. We actually have a new coach. Molly, are you and Brandy on the line?
I am.
Awesome.
This is Brandy.
Hey, Brandy. I'm gonna. Molly, will you introduce Brandy to us? Good to hear you, Brandy.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, we sure can.
Good.
I'm excited, really excited about Brandy joining our team. Brandy is actually going to be on Mary Moses's team. That's a hard one to say, in Fayetteville, Georgia. And Brandy comes to us with a great spirit of health, a very positive attitude, a willingness to help others get healthy, and is really creating a lot of interest and excitement down in Fayetteville, where Mary owns a Snap Fitness gym and is about to open up a second gym and wants to offer Take Shape for Life as another service in her two places there. So Brandy is stepping up to be the on-site health coach, and that is very exciting. So welcome aboard, Brandy.
Thank you.
Will you share just a second about what it is that you're excited about and what you've learned so far being, with this joining us and Take Shape for Life?
What I have learned so far is a lot about how to start people on the road, that there's so many people that are uneducated about healthy habits. And I see it every day. I'm a teacher, and the things that the children bring in just for snacks. So, there's so many different people and different avenues that are jumping on the bandwagon of this is healthy and that's healthy. And I think people are so confused about it, they don't even know which route to turn. And what I like about Take Shape for Life is that it doesn't just throw out an option and a meal plan, that it coaches and teaches you, and it's not just about healthy habits of eating, but the sleeping, and that there's so many other components that come in together that most people don't get and understand, that it's just not about food. It's about so much more, and that's what's really exciting to me. It takes the whole body into what should be done, not just, you just need to eat this way and exercise. There's just so much more and so many more components to it, and I like how Take Shape for Life addresses all of that.
Beautiful. Well, we are so excited to have you. You're going to be a great addition to our mission. I can't wait to see the number of people whose lives that you impact. And I just can't thank you enough for joining us and what we do. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
A lot from you. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was fear. And when we are in a partnership as coaches, when we sign up to be a coach, we're actually helping someone change their habits, as Brandy just said. And what happens is that people will meet up against something. It'll look like, I don't have time. It'll look like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I'll do it another time. It'll look like, something else is top priority. But what really people are pushing up against is their fear. We're pushing up against our fear when we are talking to people and finding out if they want to join us, if they're ready to get healthy. And they push against their fear as they're getting healthy. So how can we walk alongside people and serve them best by guiding them? And as a coach, I just heard this. I read this just today, that the definition of mentoring, this is one definition of mentoring, and as coaches, we're a bit of a mentor, and even in our teams, we're a mentor, is a joint learning partnership. Is that not the best definition? Mentoring is a joint learning partnership. And if we can enter in to our relationships as a joint learning partnership, not we're the know-it-all experts, And because what happens is with coaches, especially people that are entrepreneurs, will resist structure at all costs. And even our clients will resist structure. And so, and basically there's fear in there. It's just our personalities. But how can we meet them where they are, break down the barriers, help them trust us, help them, let go of that resistance just a little bit and best serve them, right? So anyway, I wanted to share with you guys, I want some other people, some of our coaches to share, because so many of you have hit a wall, hit something, and walked through that comfort zone. I think as an entrepreneur and for our coaches, our clients that are changing their habits of health, you've got to push past the comfort zone. We have no idea what kind of environment they've lived in, what their family culture has been all these years, how are they going to change habits in a world that's obesogenic? So if we can understand that, we can really help people and serve them where they are and take them and have them have the most success. And then we can have the most fun and learn something about them and what motivates them. How can we get into their world? How can we have compassion, understanding, empathy for their fears that show up as excuses? So, Julie, you have stepped out and done these events at your gym or with your clients, and that's a big step to invite a bunch of people to come along with you. You have no idea who's going to show up. It's putting yourself out there. Tell us about where you've hit up against the comfort zone and how you've walked through it.
Yeah. Let's see. We did one in October and we had a pretty good turnout. We had like 20 people there, I think. Dee came. It was awesome. And then we said, let's try for one in January. So we tried to plan one for mid-January. Hopefully y'all can hear me. But we tried to plan it for mid-January, and we ended up having a snow day the day that we planned to do it. So I'm talking to Dee on Friday before, and we're going back and forth. My aunt had flown in town from Ohio because she's lost about 50 pounds and wanted to be there. So all these things were going against what we had originally planned. And my first thought was, we're not going to reschedule this. We're just going to cancel this and we'll do it in April. But as I started to talk to more clients, and I actually was texting with Bev, and she said, I have a lady that really wants to come, and when can we do this? And so having other coaches and people, all working together, I think made such a difference. And that's one huge thing. Even though I'm here by myself in Charlotte, or I started here by myself in Charlotte, now I have Dee on board, Mandy on board, Kathy. And then Dee has been so supportive. And so I told her, I said, Dee, I think we're going to do this on Saturday next week. What do you think? And she's like, well, we'll be there if we can. So just having a whole team and having somebody behind you. And I think that was, I told Dee, thank you so much for your support and being there. Means the world, having another third person, an outside perspective from just me. And so then we ended up having the event last, 2 Saturdays ago. And it was great. It was not at all what I expected. We ended up having all these different people, not my current clients. It was all different new people. I had a lady become a client that day. Bev had a gal become a new client. So we had several things. A girl that was interested in coaching showed up. So I could have just said, no, we're not going to do it. Too much work, the weather, it's winter, blah. But we ended up doing it, and it went great. And I'm really glad that we all pushed through.
Thank you, Julie. Don't you always, whenever we have an event, say, we could be doing other things. We all want to be doing other things. It's work, it's effort, but the payoff is so just so great. And the impact, the lives that you can change just by showing up and getting out of your comfort zone and doing it anyway. Thank you for that.
So thanks to Dee too. And Bev.
And Bev. Yeah. Isn't it funny that Bev's one thing that one person said, Bev really kind of moved that into action. And that's that joint learning experience.
Yep, exactly. Working together.
Yep. It's like Bev made something happen that Dee and Julie maybe couldn't. So thank you. You know, it's very cool. All right. So Terry Moore, you have had, you know, you've been growing and expanding, and then you just had the opportunity to kind of think about, do you want to step up? And she had the opportunity to take over Nicole's seat at a BNI group. So would you share with us a little bit about your decision and what went into that?
Yeah, thanks, Susan. I've been visiting and subbing in for Nicole as she asked me to help her out on a BNI. If you've never done a BNI before, I mean, how many of you have done BNIs before? I know some people are, involved in one. But she encouraged that. Susan also encouraged that for me when I first started with Take Shape. But so I subbed in some for Nicole here and there just to get a feel for it. And I actually went to several other BNIs, which I think surprised the heck out of Nicole when I told her I'd actually visited several others. And then she talked to me about this BNI opportunity. She's, offered it to me. And to be honest with you, like Susan said, there was some fear there for me because, it was some financial commitment, thought processing. Also, what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of time commitment too. And, as far as that goes for me, I'm a new grandma. Did I really want to take that time or whatever? But like Susan and I discussed, it's that fear of, not sure where you're going and what you want to do. But, I sat down, this is something that Susan and I really didn't talk about today, but I'll share this though, that really helped me make this decision and have an action step forward in committing to my business, not just my Take Shape, because actually Susan is the Take Shape person there, but it would help me grow my Take Shape because of several different things. Is I sat down with Susan one day after I had subbed in, and I just said, what do you think? Help me. And one thing that Susan did is she asked me a lot of questions. She asked me a ton of questions about really what my whys were and what is it that I wanted. To the point where she moved me to tears. And I figured out what my whys were. And, I think that's something that Nicole put down last week, this past Sunday too, in the meeting that we had, the event we had that Susan put on and Dee helped and a lot of other people were involved in. But what really came down to is still kind of what the first question is when you first started your business is, what is your why? What is your why? And I had to come up with, what is my why? Why do I want to be in Take Shape for Life, as a coach or even as a, client? So again, that helped me move my business forward. She helped me ask the correct questions. And as I'm sitting here telling you guys, I have a little bit of tear in my eye because I think, you have to have passion and to go into action. So if you're not sure where you are and what your business looks like, that's okay. But what you have to really do to get into action is figure out what your whys are. And that helps us with our clients. It helps us with ourselves. It helps us just in general with our whole entire life. And I think we're all still, that's a journey. And I won't take up much more of your time because I understand, everybody has to talk. But it really does make a difference when you figure out what your whys are. And so that's what moved me into action to go ahead and accept Nicole's offer to me. And I'm really excited. I actually meet with the membership committee tomorrow at 11:30. So, it's really exciting to know that I'll be moving not just my personal training business forward, but I know it will move me as a business person. And I think that's what we've talked about, is taking me another step in my business professional, not just, my own life, but in general, I'll be a better business person with this. So anyway, PM me if you want to ask questions or anything like that. Thanks, Susan, for asking me.
Well, Terry, thank you. You said it beautifully, perfect. Couldn't have said it better. Passion moves you into action. And exactly right, finding your why that's going to motivate you to take that action, move through your comfort zone, move through your fears. That's exactly, and how can we awaken that in someone? And that's our job. And who was I sharing with today? Oh, I guess it was Joy, who says she always wants to get better. And I think that if you're in a field where you always want to get better, that's when you know you've hit it. Because haven't we been in jobs where I was in a job where I didn't want that person, the VP's job. Like, I was a director, I didn't want anyone else's job. Like, where are you going to go? So now, with being a coach and a business leader, like, there's always places for me to go. Like, until my grave, I'll be learning something new. So thank you, Terry, very, very much. Well, Liz, I'm going to hook over to you. You have transformed in the past couple months. Things have been on your mind and some fears that you've had to kind of internalize and make your own. So can you share with us about that?
Yeah, thanks for asking me. I went to Go Global and the National Convention and totally on fire, and I come back and my business tanks. And I'm like, okay, what's happening there? And I ran into a wall around offering the full trilogy. I got the well-being evaluation. I didn't know how to use it. I could talk to people all the day long about losing weight, but the full trilogy, I hadn't internalized that. So I've wrestled with the notion of, what kind of business this is and how to really present the financial opportunity, and was really struggling with it. And I finally, Susan is always good about pushing me to those next levels that are, it's like in yoga, it's your edge where you're slightly uncomfortable, right? You're going to take a deep breath and go into your edge a little bit farther. So I started listening to the Network Marketing Heroes podcast with Richard Bliss Brooke. But the thing that most transformed my whole concept around this is a book called The Business of the 21st Century. And it's a book written by a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which some of you may know that book. His book, it just totally, it's the most transformational book I've read in the last 15 years. That's how important it's been to me to understand the power of this business model and the financial opportunity that it offers for anybody in the country. So that book was transformational for me to really own and embrace our business model. And now when I talk to people, I'm bulletproof around that now. I look around and I say, okay, did you know that in America, the number one and the number two stressors in our country are finances and career? And as a health coach, if I'm not talking to you about those things, I'm not doing my job as a health coach. And right from the beginning, now I don't have oodles of numbers to say this is how this pays off yet, because this is within the last 2 months that I'm embracing this. But I feel having walked into a fearful place and not really understanding how to embrace network marketing or the notion of our comp plan being in that category of direct sales. And now I am so bullish on it. I want to tell the world about it. So that's, leaning into your edge and finding resources that help you stretch yourself. And so that's how I experienced that wall and walking through it.
Well, thank you, Liz. And we did a 3-way call on Friday with the most delightful person I have, just delightful. And not only that, but was so grateful. Whatever you did or said at your coffee that morning, like, you practically have saved her life from the financial. This is something, she says, this is something that can really impact her family. She says, this is something that could utilize all my strengths. She's very successful in business. Mm-hmm. But she says, in corporate, I can only use some of my strengths. Like, they tell me maybe next year you'll get to do all of your strengths. But this, she can do all of her strengths. So the fact that you could change someone's life like that with your offering is just doesn't get any better. So thank you, Liz. Really, it was just such a pleasure to see this transformation. And you've been working on it.
I've been working on that hard, and Sarah, the woman that you're talking about, is the first person that I've connected with simply the business opportunity. She's not a client. She's just, I'm connecting with her on the business opportunity, and she's interested, and she's going to start the program. She's got her first kit coming. And she's going to try it for 2 weeks and then become a coach. So it's my first, I've had that immediate success from this. So thanks for that.
Yeah, great. Well, Sandy, you have faced a big fear, and then you've helped one of your coaches face his big fear. And so can you share with us a little bit about what you've experienced when you're out of your comfort zone? I've walked through this, kind of journey with you a little bit. So can you share it, please?
Well, I thank you for asking. I am getting busy, very busy with clients, and my job is in the way. And so I don't have time to go to work in the office every day. And I was going to retire hopefully this summer, but I knew I had to cut back on the hours at the office, and hopefully they wouldn't fire me all the way. And so I was going to ask them if I could work 3 days a week, but I was terrified that they were going to fire me, and how am I going to make money? And I prayed and prayed about it, and God said, do it afraid, just do it afraid. And so the morning that I went in to talk about it, I actually saw a sunrise in my neighborhood, and there was a victory. It's on my Facebook. It was a victory person in the sunrise. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's me. It's going to be victory. And so I went in and talked to them, and the girl that I talked to, she said, I totally understand. I'm so happy for you. We'll talk to the owner. And they offered me 2 days a week instead of 3. And so since I did that, my business is exploding. It's unbelievable that people are coming out of BNI. I'm getting people from BNI. I'm getting second tier people from BNI. And I already have 3 people in my BNI group on the program, soon to be 4, and referrals are coming 2 at a time, like 6 in the last week. And I'm just like, I need a spreadsheet for all my clients because I'm just all mixed up. So it's just been a blessing. So Sunday was an incredible day because 2 more people, husband and wife, wanted to be on the program, but the husband didn't want a woman coach because he didn't want to talk to a woman. And so I called Terry, and he's on the line. Unmute yourself, Terry.
I get him. What's his number?
He's 616, right there. And so I called Terry, and I said, all right, Terry, you've got a guy. He needs a guy coach. You're gonna do this. And Terry said,
I'm nervous. I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to find every reason under the sun to get Sandy to do that job for me.
And I said, do you want to get out of that, driving that semi? You want to get out of there, don't you?
Yes, I do. So I went outside. I chilled out. It was nice and cold out there. I kneeled down in the backyard, prayed for the Lord to get me through this. I went in the house and I called the gentleman, and everything was beautiful. It was so easy. I couldn't believe it was that easy. and so, yeah, it was so fast I didn't have time to fill out the client form. So I got an email into him. I'm going to have to call him in the morning and find out when would be a good time to get that filled out. But, yeah, his order is already on its way to him.
Well, thank you for stepping up, Terry. Thank you, Sandy, for recognizing that his why was big enough for, you put his why out there, and he saw his why, and that's what made him ask for help from you and the Lord, and and he did it. And that whenever we move into our action, we get such confidence, like something happens and overtakes us. And so thank you both for stepping into your comfort zones, beyond them. And I can't thank you guys enough and can't wait to hear more stories.
Sure.
So Mindy, are you around? And we want Mindy, and I want finish up with Molly. Let's see, Mindy's a brand new coach. She's just made senior coach for the first time last month. And she was inviting people. She texted me, and we had an event on Sunday at Shine. And she texted me and she says, I've invited 4 people and no one can come. And I go, well, usually if 1 out of 5 says yes, so you want to go for 1 more. And so I never heard back from you, but she said later that she invited 7 and no one came. But what did happen the next day?
Well, I got a client too, actually, but it was just so helpful just to let everyone know in charge of putting the event on, and who came up and spoke just really touched me. Nicole's speech at the end really touched me to the point I was just about in tears, partly because I just feel like I'm so passionate. So like Terry said, I feel like I have the passion, but I had invited 7 people and they didn't come. So there's sort of a conflict there. But as far as stepping out of the comfort zone, I feel like how I got the person the following day was that just going to the event. And sometimes, like we were saying, coming up, well, that's going to take my time on the Super Bowl, and should I stay home with my husband or should I go? And I thought, well, Susan always says, how bad do you want it? What do you want more? And so I went to the event, and it just really gave me a lot of confidence hearing the testimonials, because I have not been on the program. I didn't have that confidence to say with surety that the people will definitely see results, or they will like the food or whatever. But I felt I had that just from hearing other people that, yes, there are guaranteed results. So I kind of went with that confidence, knowing others had done it. And also I was feeling not confident because I didn't feel knowledgeable being a new coach. So I just read everything I could get my hands on. So I, trying to step through that fear. And then the other thing is to do what Susan says and to act like you already are successful. And for me, in a financial situation I have, to have 25 clients would really be very helpful for us. So I just walked in as if I already had my 25 clients and I had those people already. And, you just stand a little bit taller as if I'm already in this thing and successful. And right before I met with her, I was exercising and I wanted to exercise a little bit longer. And so I just sent her a quick text and I said, would it be possible for me to meet you 20 minutes later, because I'm running long with one of my health coach clients. And I consider myself my most important health coach client. So it was sort of a little white lie, but not. And she said, sure. But that was really my way of letting her know what I do. So was within my comfort zone, I stepped out of my comfort zone, if that makes sense. So then the next time I can step out a little bit more. But because I had sent that text, this is a friend who had moved away and moved back, and I hadn't seen her in probably 6 years. She was able to ask me, oh, I see you're a health coach. Tell me what you do. And then by the end of our lunch, she was a client.
And thank you.
And then just taking that confidence further, then I signed my husband up that evening.
Her resistant husband, no less. The one who she's been, hoping, and that's great. And you said it was easy, like, asking the questions, like, just like Terry said earlier, like when you do it, and I loved what you said about creating your mindset and walking in, like you stepped into your future, like you're already there. So, but it was easy, wasn't it? I mean, like it just flowed natural.
Yes. And I had the confidence in my head with him to get him talking and confident that he would get to that right answer by hearing himself speak. And he did. So it's not really what I do. I try to make it about what they do. And it doesn't always work, but in those two cases it did.
Bingo. I love that. If we don't try so hard, we just think about, we ask them the questions and let them either hear themselves or talk themselves into it, or just, get the idea themselves, because like I say, everybody is resistant. It's our human nature. Next week, I'm going to talk a little bit more, go into a little bit more on what we can do to stop the things in our brain that will stop us, and how to use it constructively instead of destructively. But let's finish up with Molly. You had a fear, and we started off introducing a new coach. And so, Molly, will you just finish us up with a little bit about your fear?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because something happened with the computer and I don't see myself anymore. But I just want to quickly kind of culminate a lot of what everybody else has already shared, especially what Liz shared around, offering the full trilogy to somebody. But the way it unfolded with Brandy coming on board was rather unusual. And I've been health coaching, it'll be 7 years this spring. So it was very unusual. Mary, who is on my team, again, has a gym. She had an opportunity and she didn't have a way of finding the right fit for this opportunity. And I know no one in Fayetteville. So I started doing things like trying to figure out, how do I find people in Fayetteville? That's 60 miles from where I live. So I started tapping into who knows anybody in Fayetteville. What are the Facebook pages in Fayetteville? People looking for jobs. Who's healthy in Fayetteville? I mean, I was really trying to tap into it. And we had a candidate that was meeting us at the gym, and we did not know, we kind of felt from the beginning that might not be the right fit. And then I had this reluctance of, why am I going to Fayetteville? Because I left here at 2 and I got home at 9. Okay, so that was like a 7-hour chunk. And I asked Susan to go with me, which I thought was a huge commitment on her time as well. So I thought, okay, I'm going to step out. I'm going to do something I'm pretty reluctant to do, and I have no idea where it's going. So for my engineering brain, that was pretty uncomfortable. And lo and behold, we go down. The candidate that we had in mind ended up not being the right fit. And so I just started talking to more people in the gym where we were set up, and started with an approach that really ended up being pretty effective. And Susan, I think, was laughing a little bit at me because I was like, okay, I'm not just going to stand here. We have all these people in this room, and I've got this display, and of course everybody thinks I'm just trying to sell them something. So I had to get around that and get out of my comfort zone and find a way to reach people and have them listen to me without feeling like they were going to be sold to. So I did find a way to do that. And in that moment, in those few minutes, Brandy approached, I approached Brandy and I stopped her and we talked a bit. And it wasn't until later that her name came back around, when we knew the candidate that we had in mind wasn't a good fit. And Mary brought forward this name, Brandy. I said, I spoke to her. She has great energy. She's got, I want to talk to Brandy. Can you find Brandy and bring her back in here? I mean, I felt like I had this great thing to offer. It was the craziest thing to have this opportunity in this environment to offer to somebody and trying to find the right fit for it. And it was only going to be the right fit if that person had a need and an interest. It couldn't be about just finding a warm body. It had to be the right fit for the right person. And so after a very quick conversation with Brandy, she's on fire. It's the right fit for the right person. And that's pretty exciting. So you never know what's going to unfold. You just kind of have to be open to the possibilities. You got to get in the car and you got to devote the time to it to figure out what the possibilities are. And that's all I really wanted to share. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Molly. Yeah, I got to witness it all. Molly was so fun. It was like great to watch. I go, Molly, nice job. It was just really fun to see her in action, as it is to see everybody else in action. And so as a leader, as a mentor in our joint learning partnership, if we can just look at our clients and learn something from them about what are they good at, what are their passions, what will light them on fire, and then taking the secondary choices around, driving, to Fayetteville. And I'll tell you what, to find Brandy, you are worth 16 hours.
Not the truth. Yeah.
the hours, you know. So anyway, well, thank you guys, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks you all for sharing, and have a great week. Let's get America healthy. Good night.
Good night.